All right, YouTube, this is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with another video on this Monday morning. We got to have a serious topic and a serious conversation this morning because with the civil unrest around redistricting, all the racial animus, black people thinking they're losing their rights and being taken back to Jim Crow. They even calling it Jim Crow 2.0. You have people even coming out saying that you're going to be back in slavery. You have all this fear-mongering. You have all this pandering to the trauma and experiences of foundational black Americans through slavery, Jim Crow, and redlining to get you in your feelings. But it's a distraction. It's a distraction. And today we're going to discuss who is the puppet master behind this. Who is pulling the strings? Whose plan and blueprint this is to undermine the cohesive fabric of this country and our communities? And you all want to know who that is? You're not going to like it. Some of you are going to get mad and probably unsubscribe from the channel because you don't want to hear that your savior, the person you consider a savior, is the architect of your demise. And his name is Barack Hussein Obama, alias Barry Soetoro, the man who came out of nowhere and infused himself into black culture, became your icon like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all of the other foundational black Americans that you admire and look up to. But do you even know who he is? The man who created the Russian hoax. The man who, as soon as he got in office, flew the rainbow flag over the White House and ushered in the age of same-gender marriage. The man who bailed out all the big corporations while people lost their homes. The man who says he represented hope but gave you nothing. You don't like that because you thought he was a savior. Now you're recognizing he was operating like an antichrist. Today, I'm going to show you some of who this man is. And you think about what you finna hear and get out your feelings and analyze. Where did he come from? How did he shoot to stardom? Why is it right now he won't go away? Why is he still trying to influence politics? Bill Clinton's not. The Bush is not. But this man is still trying to navigate the black community into civil unrest. And for what reason? See, a lot of you didn't understand. Y'all thought that the socialists was trying to make it easier for the Islamists. But the Islamists are using the socialists to implement Sharia law and to undermine this country. And I'm going to show you a few clips. Watch these clips and think about what you're about to hear. This is for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. Check this out.
Found the correct clip here. Let's see. Here it is.
Well, man, why are you attacking somebody black for? I said, black people didn't put this up. They didn't have anything to do with this. I heard them planning.
The Obama administration did.
Well, that's it. Obama, what did he do for the black race? Nothing. Question you might ask, who's the richest man to ever be U.S. president? It's not Trump.
No.
It's Barack Obama. You know how? His adopted father, Lolo Soetoro, was one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. And when he died, he left a trust fund in Indonesia with 3 equal beneficiaries. Barack Obama, then known as Barry Soetoro because he was adopted, and his 2 siblings. So he has a whole false claim about what his background is. But when he got in the White House, he'd been working for a law firm that represented his daddy. He got lauded by Goldman Sachs, who financed most of his daddy's American investments. He protected British Petroleum when they had to blow out in the Gulf because guess what? His trust fund had heavy investments in BP. So we get through this whole mantra, and even affordable care, Obamacare. You know who drafted it? Senior Tennessee Republican Senator Dr. Bill Frist when he was Republican Senate Majority Leader. Why? His family founded Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and most of the HMOs. His family's making a killing. So he retired from the Senate in 2010 when the Obama administration got passed his drafted act from 2003. It's his game. And I don't have any problem with Trump either. I'm looking at lowest black unemployment rate since Lyndon Baines Johnson, more money to historically black colleges and universities at any time since Lyndon Baines Johnson. I mean, more Americans back to work. You know, like, what did you get for the last three? Oh, and then this. You know that joke that they do about George W. Bush feeding Michelle candy? The inside thing on that is it's the same candy he fed her husband when he was 6, 7 years old. See, the Sotoros and the Bushes go back 40-some years.
I tell you what, you might even...
And doesn't that give you an inclination of why Obamacare was so heavily pushed by Obama? His ties to the HMOs, his ties to BP. I got one more clip for you.
Last one, number 44, and the one before that, 43, Bush and Obama. Well, there are pictures of Bush with his arm around 8-year-old Barack Obama because his stepdaddy, adopted daddy, Lolo Sotoro, had done a lifetime worth of business with the Bushes. Uncle George Herbert Walker, after whom George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 1 president, was named, founded Halliburton in 1946 in Oklahoma. And Lolo Sotoro had been international executive vice president for Standard Oil.
There was talk of him being a CIA asset.
Well, yeah, see, he ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. On his own call, anyone could be assassinated. So when George Herbert Walker Bush became head of the CIA under the Ford administration, he just got with his old buddy in the oil business, Lolo Sotoro, and pulled off the hits. See, Barack's grandmother has been acknowledged as being the woman that operated the channels through which CIA money went to the Southwest Pacific. So she introduced her daughter, who had just had Barry, Barack, to Lolo Sotoro, and they got married, and Lolo Sotoro adopted Barack Obama. The name was changed to Barry Sotoro. Now, when he went to high school in Hawaii, I know about that high school. I almost sent my oldest son to it. I could afford it, but I didn't think he deserved it. 20 years ago, the tuition was $95,000 a year, not including room and board. When Obama went there, I've talked to 2 of his classmates. They independently state that the tuition, not including room and board, was $45,000. Now, Business Insider reports his income for 2017 at over $200 million net. That's after taxes, deductions, write-offs. For this last year, 2018, they reported it as $570+ million. And that's after all deductions, tax, right? Trump doesn't make that net. I mean, even some of the richest people in America don't make that. Why? Because when his stepdaddy died, he was one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. And he left everything in a trust fund operated out of Indonesia, so the American government can't touch it. That makes Barack Obama 1/3 beneficiary for the assets of one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. See, so we got a game run on us. So, you know that little thing that Bush W does when he gets with Michelle, they giggle and he gives her candy. The inside thing, is that supposed to be the same kind of candy he used to give to her husband when he was 6, 7, 8 years old? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
So this is the actual history and background of the man you thought was your savior, the man you thought had fulfilled Martin Luther King's dream, the man who misrepresents himself as a foundational Black American, who's since his inception and very beginning into politics have been undermining our community. Look at Chicago, where he started his political career. Michelle Obama is from O Block, if some of you know where and what that is. So now you see him still pulling the strings, still pushing the narrative of slavery and Jim Crow and redlining and oppression, while he redistricts and isolates our communities into the poorest, most violent districts in the country. He is the head of the Democratic snake, a man that Soros and the likes of Oprah and Epstein himself put into office. But you don't want to see that. You still think that Democrats and the liberals are your friend. Barack Obama was put into office to initiate that rainbow flag, to create racial hostility and animus, to usher in a new world order under Islamism, socialism, and communism. This man is a covert enemy, a plant. He is not your friend. And this is Detroit's HPTV, signing to you out of Detroit. Y'all better keep your head on a swivel. Peace.